So we're going to be doing Chapter 7 Lab, and one of the things you need to pay attention to is your anode and cathode on hooking these up. If you get them backwards, your LED doesn't work. We are going to use two separate coil voltages. Here we're going to be using 5 volts for our circuit here to turn the LEDs on. These will be tied to the normally open and normally closed contact on your relay. And that voltage here is fed from positive 5 volts. Here. Our relays and our kits are not 5-volt relays, and they requested to find out the fill-in voltage. So we're going to be using 12 volts off our adjustable voltage to feed the coil on the relay, which will be fed from here. At this point, I've hooked up a meter to my V positive, and so I can adjust it with my voltage knob located in the bottom left. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to find the fill-in voltage of this relay. Right now, you'll see that the yellow LED is on the normally closed set of contacts. I have a switch hooked up. That switch is in your kit. I simply soldered 2 wires to the bottom of it and inserted it into the breadboard. Right now, this is the off position, and this is the on position. Here we have the off position is allowing current to flow to the yellow LED. So this is what I have. I don't have green here. I have a yellow one. And on the normally open contacts, I have the red one. So when the coil voltage engages on this relay, we'll pull in. Now, on your relay, you need to make sure that you refer to the pinout diagram here. I've put it into the shared folder, but you'll need to make sure you hook out to the pinout diagram here. You'll notice that this relay sits across the middle of this rail on the breadboard. If we pull this off, we can pull this off here and we can examine our relay. And if we hold it up, we'll notice that there are 2 pins with a bigger gap on the back side. So you'll see these 2 pins have a bigger gap. That is going to be the coil. So that is going to be 1 and 10 here. It's going to be laid out just like this. And so whenever you hook up your breadboard, remember that the vertical rails on this breadboard are all tied together. So if you hook up anywhere along this path here or up here, it's going to be the same point as the pin inside this relay. So at this point, we have the yellow light on. Your exercise says to adjust the coil voltage to find the fill-in. So we're going to make sure that our switch is in the on position. We're slowly going to adjust our V positive, coming up to 5 volts. Remember, this is a 12-volt relay, so we're looking for the fill-in voltage. And so we see the fill-in voltage in this instance is about 7.2 volts. You're requested in your lab and these steps right here to identify the fill-in voltage on 3 trials and take the average. That's the pull-in voltage. Now we also need to identify the release voltage, the minimum amount of voltage before the coil drops out. So now we'll crank our V positive down slowly until we see it drop out. And we'll see the dropout voltage on this particular relay is somewhere around 2.5 volts. So you'll repeat this process 3 times, taking the average of the pull-in and the dropout voltage. The next part of the exercise asks that you do a fill-in circuit. If you remember from industrial electricity, we're going to add a memory latch to this relay. So what we're going to do here is modify this circuit here with a latch. It's right here. We're going to put this latch in here. I've done that on the other side of my relay. If we look a little bit closer over here, we'll get that focused. We'll see that I've used this side of the contacts for my LEDs, and on the opposite side, what I'm going to do is use that side. I'm going to pull my switch over, and you'll see that this wire here is connected to the coil, and it moves over here to the common on the relay right here. This is tied to the pin. And then on the normally open contact of the relay, on this set of contacts, I have this wire hooked, and I'm going to tie this wire here back to power. This is going to be my latch. So I'm bypassing that start switch. So once I do this, I will adjust my cylinder voltage up until the relay engages. And now I'll turn my voltage down, or I'll turn my switch off. Don't adjust the voltage down. Turn your switch off. And we'll see that it still stays in. The only way to break that is to turn this back down. And if we turn it back up, we'll see that nothing happens until I engage the switch. It latches in. When I turn this off, it doesn't go off. I'll have to drop the voltage back down until it drops out.